Welcome to the Shannon Wheeler podcast. After spending 30 years in the housing industry, I have come to understand that there are two things that I love to talk about. One of those is real estate, and the other one is people. And so this is a show that is going to focus on those two things. Real estate and all the things that go on in the real estate markets, because it's of a lot of interest to me, and people, because I've learned, if nothing else, over 30 years' time, that every business is truly a people business. Thank you for spending some time with us. So basically, I thought, you know what? There's a good opportunity here for me to have a show that talks about real estate, because I've been in real estate finance for so long. And, I kept trying to think about all the things that I like to talk about. And I ended up figuring out that it's really just about people.
Yeah.
It's like you got the boxes for the people and you got the people, right? I mean, it's like that's just kind of what it is. So it's just going to be a show about a lot of real estate stuff, a lot of real estate market stuff. There's things that happen in real estate that kind of go beyond the numbers and get to the people. And that's kind of my trade craft. That's
Right.
what I know, right? But then that's going to be about half the show. And then the other half is going to be about things that I'm interested in and people that are doing stuff in the community, just any number, the people, right? I mean, that's what it's all about. So we're super glad. For those of you that don't know, I'm going to have Trent explain this a little bit, but Trent is a friend of mine who's really put together a tremendous platform for people to have shows that are focused primarily on things that are going right in the world. Doesn't mean that they're all softball topics. I mean, it gets pretty heavy and it gets really heartfelt a lot of times. But so the Spread the Positive Network has agreed to host our show. That's the network that we're affiliated with. So there's a whole lot of other great shows on the Spread the Positive Network. So the goal for today's show is to just kind of let you all know what we're going to be doing, what we're going to be working on. Some basic things about the show. Of course, I'm going to have a good friend of mine, Stacy Webb, is going to be my guest here shortly. But while we're getting started, Trent, tell everybody a little bit about kind of how that works. So, like, you bring the shows to life and talk about Spread the Positive Network and how people can see the show eventually. And
Right. Trent Denson here, founder of Spread the Positive. It's an honor to have you as part of the network. Long time coming, I would say, and it's been really cool following your moves over the years, and these recent conversations we've had about your show and your ideas and your goals is all super exciting. But the Spread the Positive Network, our mission is bringing light to what's going right, so stuff that's making a positive impact here locally and beyond. We launched the network officially in 2021, and we have launched 73, 4, 5 shows since then, 2,500 plus episodes. So we have been cranking out some really great stuff and telling some great stories and connecting great people. And that's, what it's all about, man.
Yeah, I mean, 75 shows. I mean,
that's pretty crazy.
It is pretty crazy. And I remember kind of the beginnings where you were like, what
the heck are we doing? What the heck are we doing phase?
It's been a real testament to consistency. I mean, we talked a little bit about how there were some ups and downs and some, I don't even want to talk about Spread the Positive anymore. But, I felt like when we talked about that, it's interesting. They say behind every cynic is a disillusioned dreamer or a disappointed optimist. I can't remember exactly what the saying is, but for you to get to where you feel that that heartfelt about it, it shows how important it was to you. And at the time, it's just like, oh my goodness. But anyway, through all of that, just continuing to push play.
And push record and trust the Lord.
Push record and trust the Lord.
That's the motto.
Right. And so here you are, 75 shows later, and growing.
Yeah, very
right?
much so. New spot.
Expanding.
New spot on the square. OG studio over at Cedar Glade still operating. So got some exciting things happening for sure.
Yeah, very
let's
good.
talk about this, man. This is your deal. You kind of gave a little backstory. Been in the real estate world for 30 plus years.
Yes,
give or take.
Yeah. So it occurred to me that there's probably a lot of people that know me but don't know
Yeah.
much more about me or a lot about me. But I'm a native Nashvilleian,
Yep.
born and raised. My parents moved here in the 1960s from Atlanta.
Okay.
My grandfather was in the airline industry
Oh,
in
nice.
South Carolina after
Okay.
World War II.
Wow.
Eddie Rickenbacker was one of his pilots. The old Eastern Airline before it moved to Atlanta.
Oh, wow.
That's how they got to Atlanta.
Gotcha.
My grandmother was from North Carolina, and so we always tell the story in the family
Yeah.
that she was the first female pilot
Wow.
in North Carolina.
No way.
And you're from North
Yeah, I
Carolina,
am.
right?
What part?
And
Where's she from?
Statesville.
Okay.
So
yeah,
you're
yeah.
in Asheville, and you go right
Just-
down the into the,
Yep.
over the mountain. When you
Yep.
get to the bottom of the mountain, that's
It's
where Statesville's
Statesville.
at,
Yeah.
right?
Know that place well.
Yeah. So my grandmother, they're from Statesville. My grandfather's from South Carolina,
Yeah.
Spartanburg.
Okay.
But that's the story, right?
Right.
Now, have I seen the evidence? Yeah.
Sure.
Have I
Hey.
told it 100 times?
Absolutely. You have to.
Probably,
You
yeah.
have to. Of course.
I started at some point kind of like, I haven't verified this myself, but so
I mean,
yeah.
you
Anyway,
got to run with that.
I mean, hey,
I say
listen.
it's legit.
it was close enough.
Yeah.
Anyway, these two crazy kids moved to Atlanta. Anyway, that's where they
All cause two people fell in love.
Yeah.
Right?
exactly.
That's a classic.
And so
Shout out to Brad Paisley.
yeah,
Anyway.
exactly. So they show up there and moved to Nashville in the 60s. And so that's where they eventually had me, my brother, and sister. And so I grew up in South Nashville. After high school, I joined the Navy.
Yep.
I was like, I went to the corner store. It's a funny story. I went to the corner store and I walked in. I just graduated high school, or I was about to graduate high school, and I saw a guy in there working the counter. We got to talking a little bit, and he was about 10 years older than me. We talked for a couple minutes, and I said, well, where'd you go to high school? And he said, I went to Antioch High School. And it just flashed instantly. It was one of those moments
Yeah.
where it's just like,
I know.
and instantly I said to myself, Shannon, if you don't walk out of this store right now and do something different, then that's going to be you 10 years from now.
Wow.
And it wasn't that the guy was a bad guy or
Yeah.
that that's a bad lot in life.
Sure.
It was just that wasn't my story.
Yeah.
And it was boom. It just
Yeah.
hit me right in the face.
Man.
So within 2 weeks, I was on my way to the Naval Training Center in
Man.
Orlando.
Wow.
And I was like, put me on I looked at the services, and so my son's in the Army now, but I looked at the different services, and I ended up picking Navy. The reason I picked Navy in my mind was I would go until they ran out of land, and they'd put me on a boat, and then we'd keep going, right? That was
Right.
so I'd go as far away as I could
Oh,
just
wow.
to see what was out there.
That's awesome.
So I came back, spent 5 years, Desert Shield, Desert Storm,
Wow.
went joint duty at Scott Air Force Base
Wow.
in Southern Illinois. Stayed there for a year, and they had an opportunity then where you could get out early so at the time they were doing some reduction in force, and my career path had a really long time before you were eligible for the next promotion.
Gotcha.
It wasn't like you could just test out. You
Sure.
had to test and then wait, right? So they offered everybody that fell in that category the opportunity to get out early if they
Yeah.
wanted.
That's cool.
So I took it. I was like, I never was a career military guy. Head back to Nashville, came back, ran into a friend of mine I went to high school with, and he said, I asked him what he was doing. I tried to figure out I need to get some work, and he told me he was in something called the mortgage business.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, what's that? And he was like, well, can you do enough math to balance a checkbook? And I was like, yeah. And do you like to help people? And I was like, yep. And I like to be the hero. So if I
Yeah.
can do all those,
Let's
it's
go.
even better.
All three boxes.
So
That's
I got
awesome.
started. This was 1996.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Man.
turns out I was pretty good at it,
Yeah.
and I
Say
really
so.
like the people. I understand the business.
Yeah.
It's a lot about coordinating things, finding win-wins. What I really love is there's a lot of room in there for education. And
Yep.
if I were not in the mortgage business, I'd probably be a teacher.
Right. Can see
Um,
that.
but outside of that, it's just it's been a great career since then. So, um, you know, being in mortgage, then you get exposed to all the other aspects of the real estate business. So
Yep.
you talk to a lot of real estate people and realtors, and you buy and sell properties, you invest in properties. And so I feel like we're at a point now where the market is going to begin changing in some ways that we've not probably seen the same way
Yep.
before.
Mm-hmm.
The numbers will chart out the same, but the reasons are a little bit different, and the way the people would react to the market and how we deal with the market. And so I feel like doing a show right now has got a lot of value.
Absolutely.
The other thing, Trent, is we don't suffer from a lack of data.
Mm-mm.
We don't need more
No.
data, right? What we need is we need
Understanding of
people
some
that can
said
interpret the
Yep.
data,
Mm-hmm.
but then also people that can apply the data in ethical ways
Yes.
for all parties
Amen.
in a trend of format that is easy to understand,
Yep.
very what's the word I'm looking for? Open, transparent.
Yeah. Transparent.
And that's what I think we really need. I mean, you can grab your phone and you can find out you can outdata me
Yeah.
all that there is, but the challenge is how do you take that data, interpret it ethically, and then put it to good use for you and your family. That's a different story. That's where you
Absolutely.
need some people to jump in. But anyway,
No, I think that's a great preface for everything you're doing, and exactly just having easily digestible content around your expertise.
yeah. Well, I
That's
mean, and
brilliant.
Brian and Jonathan do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You watch them do it all the time, where they'll take a thing that's in the headlines,
Yep.
and then they give you this is what you need to know,
Right.
and that's important.
And yeah, always consider who's saying what and why they're saying that. I love how they break that down.
Yeah.
But no, that's super important, especially in this day and age with all the misinformation and you know just how much everything's changing like by the hour, not even the day.
Okay, so you bring up misinformation. So this isn't really misinformation, but there is something that has happened recently that I think is important to bring up, and it has to do with the mortgage business specifically.
Okay.
And I don't know if you've heard about this before, but there's a thing out there in the world called trigger leads.
Yep.
Have you heard of
Yes,
trigger
I have.
leads? I don't know if anybody out there has heard of trigger leads.
Anybody that submitted an application
Has experienced a
Yes.
trigger lead.
Yes. Yes, it is crazy.
Yes. Okay. So I am
I
sure.
saw something about this though. They
Yeah.
switched it
What
up,
did you see?
right?
What did you see about
Just
this?
they're it's like illegal now, right? Or
Yeah.
basically they're trying to reduce it or shut it down to a certain degree.
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, and I'm assuming I know it from the mortgage perspective and real estate perspective because that's what I see all the time. I'm assuming it probably happens in other industries.
Sure.
I could just assume so.
Right.
And so basically, what happens is if you apply for a mortgage, and I'm just going to keep it to the mortgage
Yeah.
industry specifically, but if you apply for a mortgage and we pull your credit report, as soon as that credit report gets pulled, my customers call because they're getting hammered with phone calls.
Right.
And just an unbelievable number of calls. Now, what's happening is the credit bureaus are selling that information to companies
Yep.
to solicit you for that business. So this is a big behind the scenes thing that's happening in the cost factor of home ownership. Now I'll talk about that in just a minute, but this is kind of one piece of it that shows up for us all the time. So the trigger leads are just that. When you pull your credit report and it shows that it was pulled by a mortgage company, then if there's 10 mortgage companies over here that are all paying $1 a piece every time that gets pulled and they get that information, That's how that happens. That's how the credit bureaus are generating revenue. They both charge us, which actually is charged to you. That's a pass-through cost. That's another thing. Mortgage people can't increase the cost of your credit report. So if the credit report costs $27 or $193, whatever that credit report costs, that's what we have to charge the consumer. So the credit bureau charges us, but then they sell that credit inquiry information to other companies.
Yep.
Now, it's largely very annoying for customers. And it's not that any of us are anti-competition. It's not that any of us don't want our customers to get the best deal. Any company I've ever been associated with, I have a requirement when it comes to interest rate, when it comes to the cost of my services that I'm offering. I never have to be the absolute cheapest guy. Like if you call 10,000 mortgage companies, you're going to find somebody that'll do it for $5 less, right? I mean, there's always somebody less expensive. But I can't ever let it be a problem, right? I have to always be very, very competitive up in that kind of top echelon of competition. So it's typically more of a bother to the customers than anything because there's not really any offers that are going to come that are really radically even better than what they've got.
Right.
In addition to they've hired me, but so these calls start coming in. Well, you ignore them or they're blocked, restrict. I mean, it just becomes a big hassle. So we lobbied for 2 years straight, finally got legislation passed that has been signed and enacted that addresses trigger leads.
Nice.
So we would do a few things, Trent, to try to lessen that blow on our consumers. We would try to remove parts of the data before we pulled a credit report that we could add back later, which may cut some of those things. That we did a lot of things, and none of it really helped as much as legislation. Now, we'll see, but as it stands right now, that's the case. When we pull a credit report, those leads, that should not trigger all of those inquiries.
Right.
Now,
There's going to be some shenanigans.
there's going to be some shenanigans, most likely, but the most direct result is the credit bureaus significantly raise the price of the credit reports.
Of course they did.
So the conversation that I have now with my clients is, so my clients that have used me for a long time, I've done mortgages for them for the bulk of that 30 years I've told you about.
Yeah.
They've watched these changes. They're like, Shannon, I remember when we pulled a credit report and it was $15,
Right.
and then for a long time, many, many years, a tri-merge credit report was $22, right? Well, now that's not the case. They are way more expensive. And because the trigger lead cut into that revenue source for them, they just pass that cost on to the consumer.
Sure.
So now those credit bill costs are going to go up. But, as much as that is a challenge, and we try to do everything we can to keep those costs down at every turn, I think that's preferable to the trigger lead. Had you ever experienced it? Had you yourself applied and then had to deal with, so for a week or more.
Yeah, it's insane. It's so annoying. Yeah, so my understanding is once you are the one that pulls the credit, like everything has to go through you basically now.
No, once we pull the credit bureau just doesn't alert 10 other companies.
Gotcha.
They can't sell. Right.
I got you.
Right. So
sense.
they can't say, hey, ABC 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6 mortgage companies, Joe's pulling his credit to look at a refinance.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Type situation. Yeah. And so again, they just turn around and pass the costs on to the consumer, and it's like,
Right.
golly, we're trying to get a win for the consumer, right? It's like, can you not just not charge them that and also not call them 100 times?
Right.
Like, is there
that?
Yeah. But anyway.
But that's the type of stuff you'll be covering, and that's the stuff you're going to be educating people on.
Exactly right.
That's
exactly right.
That's the why we're in here.
Yeah. And so now you've gone through that process. And did you block the numbers? What did you do when you?
Yeah. I
You
think I just
block them
started.
as they come in?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
I think And I think there was something you could register, like a do not call thing. I tried that.
So I got to tell you,
Yeah.
there was one good experience that came out of dealing with all of that over
Nice.
all that time, as per usual.
Right.
So apparently, because I always think to myself, Trent, I'm like, how do people make a living doing
On those,
that?
on the trigger call.
Like, have you
Yeah.
ever thought about that?
I mean, it's as bad. It's the same thing with realtors and these leads. I mean, it's terrible. And you feel awful even trying. You're like,
I don't
what are
understand.
the,
How
it's,
do,
it's a numbers game, but it's really just bugging people, in my opinion.
yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, and so like in that situation specifically,
It's the
right?
same thing.
And you're already saying, hey, how can I, like that business model is, how can I get you to stop doing what you're doing, do the same thing with me, I guess for
Right.
less, or like,
Exactly.
I don't know.
It's
But
crazy.
there is one good thing that came out of it. I realized that there's people that do it and have done it long enough that they've started to get pretty good at that stuff, and they get some pretty good answers, right? So
That's good.
people would start telling me, my clients, because all of my clients are like, they're
Loyal.
they're just bothered by it, right?
Sure.
But they started sharing a couple of the comments with me, and one of them was pretty good. It stuck out to me. So it goes something like this.
Let's go.
So
Can't
one of
wait.
my clients was taking refinance and doing a cash out refinance, paying off a bunch of high rate debt. Anyway, we're going through. So getting ready to lock, pulled credit because I already knew their whole story. So we go ahead and pull the credit. We get ready to lock, and the trigger leads start coming in. So one lady called her and said, hey, listen, I've got this and that and this and that, and blah blah blah. And the lady told her, she said, I really appreciate that you're wanting to help. I get it, but listen, Shannon's done our loans for years, and I just would not be able to sleep at night if I didn't use Shannon to close this loan. And she said, well, I guess you're not going to be able to sleep at night with that high 30-year rate he's going to give you either.
Dang. Pew, pew, pew.
Nice
Shots
one,
fired.
nice one. We ended up matching, and it ended up not even being the case. But
That's
I thought,
hilarious.
okay, they're working on it. They're
Yeah,
working on it.
you gotta. I
was quick on
bet
her
you gotta
feet.
have some thick skin. Yeah, you gotta be
Yeah.
able to pivot on the fly. That's an art, honestly. Being able to make those calls day in day out.
Yeah.
It wears me down real quick.
Yeah, and I love talking to people. I don't really love feeling like I'm bothering people.
Right, exactly. Like the people. What does Greg Pease always say? Stop talking to not your people.
Yeah,
I love that saying.
that is a great saying.
Yeah.
So trigger leads, intergenerational living,
Yep. It's a big one.
trends that are coming in real estate,
Yep.
and so some of those things are going to be intergenerational living. We're gonna have some experts on the show that build this
We've
stuff
already had some that have been really good.
in
that
that
are-
intergenerational living
Mhm,
category.
mhm.
Okay, yeah, fantastic. So who
Mhm.
did some shows on that already?
No, I was just talking about the ones you've like some of your warm up. We've had some warm up episodes.
Oh,
folks.
yeah. Oh,
Sorry.
yeah.
Just spoiler alert.
Yeah.
We've had a couple of dry runs here. But
Yeah.
this is the first live one. I think it's gonna be really cool, man. I love how I think there's a certain element of going live that just people appreciate and the rawness and
Yeah.
the little mishaps that might happen and whatever. But just being able to just come in here, have a candid conversation about what's going on right now is a really, really powerful tool.
Yeah, no, I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. So we will get into all of those things. If you have, eventually we'll have somebody watching the questions
Yeah.
that are
For
coming
sure.
in live.
Stephanie's on that.
And so, again, I'm glad you brought that up. So, the purpose of our show today is to not, wow the whole world, but as much as it is
Just
to
lay
just
the
kind of
foundation.
lay the foundation,
Yep.
let people see what it is, let us start to get used to it. I love the new studios.
Yeah, man.
I mean,
it's a vibe in
does
here.
this not, I mean, this is amazing.
I know.
And the look
I'm-
of this is just amazing.
I'm proud of it.
Yeah, you should.
We've come
You
a long
should
way,
be.
man.
Yeah.
Weird tables and weird. I don't know. There's been so many evolutions, but we're proud of this one. It really came together.
Yeah, it is.
Speaking
just
of,
the
shout out
best.
to Stephanie. She was the interior. A woman's touch goes a long way. I'll just say that because
Yeah.
when we didn't have it, it did not look this good. So
Yeah.
shout out to the team.
This
but,
is true. Yeah, no, Stephanie's doing a great
Yeah.
job, and all you guys were at TEDx.
Yeah,
Murfreesboro
man.
2026. We'll get into that more in some later shows.
Yes,
Have some of the speakers.
I
Come
gotta
back.
tell you, your daughter's was incredible.
Dude. You know what?
It was probably I don't want to say favorite, but it really stood out to me. It was so
Really?
good.
That it's so interesting.
I kind of felt like that is such a beautiful, just the way she tied everything together with being a sophomore, and you can be a sophomore in a bunch of seasons of your life. I was like,
Yeah.
man, I really felt that. I've kind of, yeah, I almost feel it right now again.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
And
really cool. Like, it was so well done.
you know,
So you should be super proud of her. She
I
killed it.
am. I am super proud of
Yeah.
her. There's a lot of work right now to get the talks done and finished and all the rest of it. But really appreciate you
Yeah.
sharing that with
It
me.
was, it
You're
was
not the only
really
one.
good.
There've been but I'm always a little curious.
Sure.
I'm always a little bit like,
Just because it was my
yeah.
daughter. No, I wouldn't tell you
Which is silly because
that one stood out to
which
me,
is-
even if it
which
wasn't
is-
your
yeah,
daughter.
which is silly because first of all, Shannon, you're not that important, right? You know, like, nobody's going to go out of their way to try.
No.
Yeah,
I just thought she did an amazing job. It was so good.
yeah,
And it just like, it took you back. It took you back. You remember that feeling of being like a sophomore in high school, and then, just how she was talking about how she's kind of feeling that in her, the second stage of her career. And I feel like all of us have been there.
Yeah.
I mean, all of us have been a sophomore at some point, hopefully. And
yeah,
man,
and still will be.
And yeah,
I
there's
mean-
just times in our lives where that happens. It really hit me. I thought
Yeah.
that was beautiful.
Because I'm sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, I could also take the, time when my children have
Oh,
all
there you go.
left.
There you go.
And in that space, that's the same thing that
Yep.
people experience when
She
they
brought
empty
that, yeah.
nest or when they
Mhm.
like. There's any number.
Mhm.
The city of Murfreesboro
Shoot.
is now at
In a
this
sophomore, it might be
point-
a sophomore
and, well,
time,
now,
yeah.
so if the markets
Yeah.
change, politics, like all the things that affect all of our environment,
Mm-hmm.
I think we kind of collectively are in a what now?
Yeah.
And that's become the question. And I've got a pretty stringent present moment practice and present moment desire to try to stay in the present
Yeah.
moment is the best way to probably say that.
That's
But
beautiful.
I've started thinking that to ask that question, what now?
Mhm.
That's probably the way to get most present. I mean, it's not a matter of I'm going to live in the future, but it's a matter of understanding what's happening now, and that's what will shape the future. It
Yeah.
really did hit me, and,
It
and
got me.
she didn't really spend a lot of time going over the details with me a ton because I've got she applied just like everybody else,
Mhm.
went through the process, but there was definitely some things that I saw for the first time then.
Oh, that's cool.
And
Man, she killed it. It
yeah.
was so good.
yeah, so thank you for
Everybody
saying
did
that.
great. I don't want to, but hers really stood out to me. Just the depth of the concept really, really, really hit home. I thought that was a beautiful way of just life in general. It was so good.
Yeah, I loved her for that.
Yeah, it was, and so articulate, and like her presentation, I was just super impressed. I mean, everybody, Dave's was unbelievable, and Amanda did a great job, and we saw the first half. I didn't see the second half, but man, everybody did so good. It was really well done, and yeah, you should definitely tip your hat to yourself.
So I'll tell you, well, everybody did.
Yeah.
Everybody else, like from the venue to the
production,
catering to
yes.
like everybody that was there to do a thing
Did a thing.
did the thing like the best
Yeah.
way possible.
Yeah,
And it was just really amazing. But I'll tell you, I've got to talk to the committees, and I've got to, I don't just do these things in a bubble. But the thought that's been occurring to me, and especially now that you've said this, the thing that's been running through my mind is that TEDx Murfreesboro 2027. It's almost like the theme has got to be, hey, one of our speakers from 2026 begged the question, what do you do when you find yourself in that sophomore slump? It literally will be our sophomore year.
Oh,
and
right.
it literally will
Oh,
be. So the
snap.
theme is going to be,
Ooh.
so what now?
yeah.
So now
man.
what?
Yes, that is good.
That's going to be our 2027. But anyway,
I love that.
good to visit with
Yeah,
you.
man.
Thanks for having us on Spread
Yes,
the
man.
Positive.
So
and,
happy to have you, man. This is gonna be really fun.
We're glad for the partnership, man.
Awesome.
Well, welcome back from the break. And it's our first live streaming episode of the Shannon Wheeler podcast, a show about real estate. And people, two things I like talking about quite a bit. We're going to spend a lot of time about real estate and interest rates and intergenerational living solutions and professional real estate questions and all those kinds of good things. And then probably just as much of the show I'm going to spend talking to the people that live in the boxes that we finance and that do all the things in our lives and live their lives throughout the day. And one of my favorite people in this whole entire world is with me today, and that's Stacy Webb. Stacy, thanks for joining me. It's very brave of you. Of course, I'm getting a lot of bravery out of my webs these days, but thanks for coming and doing the show with me, man.
Glad to be here. Thank you. Thank you for thinking of me, and certainly for me being one of your favorite people.
Yeah.
I know I heard you guys talking about you've done some dry runs. I have not done a dry run, so this is by the seat of our pants here. So yeah, I'm glad to be here, man. This is awesome.
Yeah. So, a couple things in this segment of the show, I'm going to leave open to talk about any number of things, right? Because when it comes to your finances around real estate, your interest rate and equity and purchasing and buying, selling, inheriting, like all that stuff is very functional, and you need professional advice. You need help to make the best of those situations. But again, it's like all the things that are happening. I told somebody a long time ago. I was like, the real estate is what really moves people. That's what people. That's what excites people. Stacy Webb is never going to roll over at 3:00 in the morning and go, "Hey Tracy, have you seen the 2-1 buy down Shannon has at the mortgage company? I mean, I just can't sleep at night." It's like that's not going to happen. You're going to say, "Hey, I don't want to live in an apartment anymore. I want to move to a house so we can have our friends over and grill out and watch the Titans game." Right? It's the life stuff that happens. So along with that, talk about your own kind of home ownership journey a little bit. Like, where did you, talk about a little bit where you grew up and you moved to Murfreesboro, and then you started thinking about buying a house as you started becoming an adult. So talk about your own ownership journey a little bit.
Okay. I grew up. I'm a relatively close by native. I grew up in Gallatin, Tennessee.
Okay, Green Wave.
The Green Wave, yeah.
You're also very, very good at team logos.
I do know a lot of team mascots.
I'm going to throw this down because you don't know this is coming. But anybody that watches the show or sees the show, I want you to put a university in the comments, and then without him looking it up, I'm going to see how many of those Stacy knows the mascot to.
Okay,
A little surprise.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just load them up. I mean, as obscure as it can be.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll just pick one. The Presbyterian.
Blue Hose.
See.
That's easy.
Easy for you, right? But to everybody else, they're gonna be like, "Who would know that?" They don't know your Presbyterian church.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you taking the pressure off there.
Yeah.
I grew up in Gallatin. Went to Western Kentucky University.
Western Kentucky.
Hilltop.
Hilltop. Yeah.
The tops. I never owned a home until I was getting married. I was getting married in the year 2000. We decided to move to Murfreesboro. We found a place in Murfreesboro. We've actually owned 4 houses, and
Okay.
they're all kind of in the same area. One was off River Rock here in Murfreesboro. One was off Cason Lane here in Murfreesboro. Then we had 2 homes in the same neighborhood right off of Highway 99, so you could just about easily walk, especially for an owner like you. You could get from every house I've owned.
I could do running the streets. I should
over-
do that one
over
day.
26.
Yeah,
over-
get that mic a little
oh,
closer.
Sorry.
Yeah.
There we go. Mic's a little closer, guys.
Yeah.
So
I could do a run in the streets episode, and it'd be just the web
Yeah,
episode,
man.
webisode.
Yeah,
and I'm running to every house the Webbs have lived in.
2000,
Murfreesboro.
2003, 2000. Yeah. So, but yeah, my home ownership experience has been, we've progressively gotten a little more house. We're not.
Well, two
big on
things
big
happened.
houses, yeah.
Two things happened. The market kind of made that work.
Yeah,
Right.
the
Like
market
you
very much
progressed
played
in
in
your
our
career,
favor,
but
yeah.
then the market kind of worked. And
Certainly.
Yeah.
Had 2 children along the way. Had our first son. He's grown and married. We had him right out of the gate. So in a little 2-bedroom condo, we had him, and then
So you started out condo.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So that you were just thinking, was it affordability? Was it low maintenance?
affordability.
What was your
affordability, and
Didn't seem as like maybe as
We were
long of a
not
far of
super.
a stretch
We
from
weren't
apartment.
super.
to-
Yeah, we weren't super ambitious in terms of our confidence level, and we probably bought less house than we could have afforded.
Okay,
Just because we
yeah.
were like,
You're like, all right.
this could go wrong any minute, right? So,
Yeah, I understand.
as far as neither one of us had ever owned a home, and then we had moved a couple of times before we had my second son, who was 17. He's
Okay,
only
so
lived
so
in
let- so so let's go back and talk about this a little bit. I think this is interesting. So, no, let me make sure I understand. So, you and Tracy were married and had not had Luke yet, or had
No,
okay,
we had Luke just about 9 months to the day after we married. So
okay, and then and so when you were buying the condo, talk about the conversations. What was it like? Was it like, okay, well, we could buy this condo and at least we're not paying rent, or we could start like what were the conversations you were having as you were a young family then trying to figure out why do we
I
get
should be
started?
embarrassed to admit this, but when my wife, girlfriend at the time, soon to be wife, said we're buying a house, and I was like, okay. So it really that was the conversation.
So
it was in
how many-
finding something that made sense was the hard part. Yeah.
So here's the clip that you're going to take away from this show. How many things in your life have you just now gone back and said, Tracy said that's what we're doing?
Just about everything.
Only the ones that worked out, Shannon. Only the ones
I always tell people I haven't made any real decisions since 1999. So
hey, you only had to
27
make
year
the
run.
one good
Yeah,
one,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Right? Yeah.
So,
So Tracy said, so Tracy was the one that really, you didn't grow up thinking automatically. You do this, you do that, you buy a house, you do that. That wasn't part of
No.
what was automatic. So Tracy was the one that was like, hey, look, we're going to buy a house.
Yeah, we can
Okay.
do
So
this.
then
We
you
can pull
start
this
figuring
off,
out,
yeah.
okay. So you start figuring out what can we afford?
Yeah.
I guess is the first question, right? Kind of go from there. And next thing you know, you're getting the keys to a condo.
That's right. That's right. Look,
there you go.
like I said, right off of River Rock, and our next home is actually also a zero lot line. It was much larger. It was a really nice place right off of Cason Lane.
So you got a little bit less scared, right? We're not quite out there yet, but we're gonna go bigger condo because it could all still go wrong. So we're gonna
So and then in October of 2007, we bought a house. Now, anybody who remembers October of 2007, something happened not long after that. Where
Yeah.
the bottom fell out.
I do remember that.
And we've always kind of looked at. So it was funny. We went to refinance our house after we had it a few months, and the house that we had bought for I think 310, they were like, "Oh, we're not going to refinance. That house is like, the house is worth $200,000." We were like, "What?"
Yeah.
But the way to look at it is, we made a lot more money selling the house off of Cason Lane than we would have made a few months later. So
Yeah.
it worked out as do most things. We were. As in a world full of blessings, that's one of them.
Yeah. Well, I would say, and it's interesting too because rather than being upset about the way things worked, really the question is, what was I doing and observing when it was happening, and what would I do differently when that repeats? Because it will. Now, it may not be the exact same thing, but that is going to happen. In other words, there is a cycle that happens in real estate, and it's a measurable one.
Yeah.
And most of the people that I know now that have more equity in real estate than they ever really thought they would have were people that just did a different series of actions during that time that was stressful for everyone. And the result has been tremendous. And so when that starts to happen, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to do the show, because I feel like we're at a point in our market where those opportunities are going to happen again.
Sure.
For different reasons this time. But, and so looking back on it, I mean, I don't know anyone that looks back on it and doesn't think, had I only been able to tell the future, but obviously we can't, right? The only market you can do stuff in is the one you're in.
Right. And I think now, if you're a real estate investor, I'm not, but if you're a real estate investor, keeping up with these things, knowing these things, it makes sense why it would preoccupy you. If you're a homeowner, like me, I think it's one of those things that it's best not to pay attention to it, because the same thing that kept me from panicking when my house was worth 60% of what I paid for it. It's the same thing that makes me not get excited when I get things in the mail telling me my house is. Our joke at home is I wouldn't pay that to live here. When they tell
Right.
me how much my house is worth, I'm like, there's no way I would pay that to live here. And I
Right.
love my house.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I think you can't really pay attention to it. It really doesn't affect you in any real way unless you're buying and selling.
That's a
It is
great
what
point.
it is. You know.
Yeah. And so the best thing, and that's what I've told people, and you've heard us talk about it in our business club meetings and different places. I've helped people make decisions in every market we've been in for 30 years. And you make the very best decision that you can in the only market that you really have any impact in, which is the one you're in right now.
Right.
And if the decision is you don't do anything, that's the decision, right?
Right.
But that's the other reason that you want to have that regular contact with your real estate and mortgage pros, because the market and what's happening in the market does have an effect, not something you need to pay attention to all the time, but it has an effect. So I would check in with them. If you're not checking in with them annually, you should, but at least annually, because let's say you've got a super low rate in equity and you're clicking along at your job, and like the last thing on your mind is your mortgage or real estate or whatever. And then you find out there's some activity, that's sales activity that's happened in the neighborhood, either up, down, whatever the case may be. Once a year, you just want to check in to find out what's going on, check the temperature, because anything that happens is going to take a little time to unfold. So you need to understand the trend line. That's what I think is most important, is the trend line, because the following summer, you may get a call that changes your interaction with your real estate. Oh, hey, this job
totally.
called, or this happened, or whatever the case may
Right.
be. And so you need to kind of have a working knowledge and kind of understand where the trends are, more so than thinking about it every day. It's just like
Yeah.
looking at your 401k every
Exactly,
day.
and that's
Todd
what
would
I
tell
always
you
think
not to.
about. And like the people, when you open up your 401k statement, if you're blessed to have investment, and you look at it, and when you're down because we had a bad quarter in the economy or whatever, panicking about that or getting nervous about that is silly, because like when you open that letter and it's up, when you made all this money just from being there, you don't go out and change your lifestyle.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't go out and do something crazy. It's money that's there for a thing down the line. So panicking about it being down, it would be just as silly.
Yeah.
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 That's kind of how I try to handle things. So
Yeah. And so, you and Tracy are a great example of, it's not a matter of timing the market, but time in the market.
sure.
So I do think also one of the things I've learned is, and again, that's part of what I want to let people know and talk to people about is, a lot of real estate professionals, and I deal with a lot of real estate professionals. I am in real estate. This is my trade craft, right?
Sure.
Doesn't change the fact that most everybody, if they talk to a real estate professional, the real estate professional is going to say, right now is the best time to buy or sell that you're. It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
now, is it? I mean, okay.
Yeah.
Now that's not untrue, right? Meaning that if you do get in the market and stay in the market, the chances are over time this is going to be something that benefits you both financially and in many other ways that they've kind of linked to home ownership. But I don't subscribe to the idea that it's just a great time for everybody to buy or sell just because.
Yeah. I completely agree. But at the end of the day, what and I know you're in your world. In the last couple of years, this whole thing of waiting for interest rates to drop or all those things that you can't really predict. At the end of the day, if you need to purchase a home, you need to purchase a home. If you need
Right.
more room, you need more room.
Right.
It's need based. It's not interest rate based.
Yeah, well-
Unless you're an investor.
Well,
It's really what I mean.
Well, so that's the thing. The biggest thing that happened is when interest rates went up, the interest rates had gotten so low, and other factors were at play, that you had a lot of what I call just a cause business. Meaning, I've got a 2,500 square foot house that I bought in the beginning of this neighborhood in 2017. It's 3.5 or 4 years later, and just because I can keep it,
Sure.
make $700 a month, buy a 4,000 square foot house in the back of the neighborhood for the same monthly expense, I'm going to do that.
Sure.
That creates all this activity. But now that just a cause is not going to happen.
Sure.
But if somebody says, I need to move over because my kids start in high school and we're getting rezoned and all their friends are going to this other high school, okay, now I need to move. Now I need to think about it. So then you get into kind of trying to figure all those things out. But you just have to make the best decisions in the market that you've got. So that's the real estate stuff. You ended up getting here. So now let's talk about some other things that we like to talk about.
Okay.
So some of you, I guess people that may have seen us know, but there's a handful of people that know we meet for coffee every Tuesday
Every Tuesday. Yeah.
at the Waffle House.
The Waffle House Tuesday mornings, and it's a good. I think it's a good habit to get in to find somebody to meet with weekly, or monthly if you can. But you can do it weekly because inevitably you're going to cancel.
Yeah.
Whenever you set something up monthly, there's a good chance you're going to go 2 months without doing it. So go weekly.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things that I find kind of fascinating, and I get why people say they have a hard time connecting. As adults, they have a hard time finding friends. They have a hard time connecting with people. I get that it's a real problem, and I don't mean to downplay it, but I guess I kind of am. I think some of it's pretty simple. You know what you need to do to connect with people. Do you want to do it?
Yeah.
You got to get out of your house. You got to go things. You got to do things, and you have to truly have somebody that you care about, that you're willing to say to them, hey, I'd really like it if we met weekly.
Yeah.
I think it would value both of us, even if we accomplished nothing but talking about the Titans or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of value in that, and I think it's missing. A lot of guys, females and males, but a lot of men my age, I hear that a lot. It's like that I don't really have friends because my life is so busy. You have to put some effort into that. My life's busy too.
Yeah.
Tuesday's not always easy to pull off for
Right.
either of us.
Right.
But we managed to do it, 48 times a year probably.
Yeah.
So it's a commitment like anything else. Put it on your calendar.
I think
don't
the,
don't plan anything during that time unless you have no control over it.
Yeah, and I think the benefits for me are just tremendous. But I mean, I think people should think about that. And our waitress that's there, like now, it's like a little friend group, or like Mackenzie comes over. Mackenzie, I don't know if she's out there. She'll see the show at some point. We told her we would mention Mackenzie, but
She tried to claim she was Irish this morning.
yeah,
We decided that she was probably Scottish. So,
yeah,
so outside of that, she's awesome.
yeah,
Other
absolutely.
than her lying about her lineage. But Mackenzie's, so we have the same waitress, and she keeps up with it. We take turns paying. We just get coffee, so it's not like pricey.
Right,
but we
right.
take turns paying, and she knows exactly whose turn it is.
Yeah.
Which is good because we usually don't. So
Right. She keeps up with that for
yeah.
us. Yeah, yeah. And so we talk about a lot of things. One of those is the Titans.
Sure.
I mean, I really feel like, so the first thing is, I think it was lost on everybody that as soon as the clock struck zero at the Super Bowl, before the first piece of confetti hit the field, what really happened?
yeah, before he even
Well-
knew who was going to Disneyland, right?
Before that happens,
Yeah.
the Titans, all of a sudden slipped right back into first place.
That's right.
We're in a tie for first currently.
Yeah.
And so I think that
That
puts
was
us
the first minute leading up to our Super Bowl achievement next year.
that's
Pretty excited about it.
run to the Super Bowl began right then.
Mm.
So currently we're sitting atop the AFC South.
Oh yeah,
And I think at this point, clear that it's ours to lose.
yeah, clearly.
What part are the new logos going to play in this? I mean, that's got to have an impact. I mean, let's not talk draft. Let's not talk about any of those things. Logos. Let's talk logos. Are they going to make us a winner, or what are we going to have here?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know how much they impact that. I kind of dig the logo. I kind of dig the uniforms.
I haven't checked
You
them
know,
out
the
really
last-
great, but they look pretty good.
Yeah,
I
the
kinda
last
dig
time the
it.
Titans went to the Super Bowl, the last play that year in Nashville was a big one.
Yeah.
So depending on if we host a playoff game or not, I think we're going to the playoffs, but we'll see what the last date that the original Nissan Stadium will be in play, because is it, right? It's last year.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah.
I mean, so my week one reason the Tennessee Titans are going to win the Super Bowl is the uniform change. You gotta go with that. I mean, it's hard to put that above, new
Blocking and
ball
tackling.
coach. Yeah,
Yeah. I agree. We probably need to tackle some folks, be able to run the screen when we need to, that kind of thing.
I mean, so like if you're ranking reasons, I definitely think play on the field, talent, new ball coach. These are all probably things that you'd put ahead of that. But I'm going counter to to what you would expect. So
Yeah.
we're going new logos. But, wouldn't that be wild if we hosted the AFC Championship game and punched our ticket to the Super Bowl last game at the stadium?
I feel like that's what's going to happen, man. You've spoken it into existence. It's about to happen.
I feel good about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Late January 27, man.
Yeah. Now, do you think Nashville's ever going to get a baseball team?
I'm a big baseball fan. I'm not sure I want that.
Okay.
I'm not sure Nashville needs a baseball team. I'm not actively trying to block it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have mixed feelings on it. I don't think Nashville doesn't like things interrupting traffic. And you're talking about something to do with interruption. If you put it downtown, which is where everybody kind of wants it to be, and when they think about it,
what's the equivalent? Like the other cities that have put them. So if you were to put a new stadium where the Braves' new baseball stadium is in
that would
Nashville,
work.
But where would that be?
Yeah, I mean, it depends
No, I'm saying like, is that in Franklin? Is like if you go from where their stadium was in downtown?
I would say it would have to be probably down 65, one way or the other, or 24.
Okay, but it's like Franklin distance from
Well, yeah, I guess you could
something like
40,
that.
yeah.
Okay.
But, that would work. But like a downtown stadium, when you're talking 81 games a year, a lot of those during the week, the majority during the week, the majority at night, closing down things. I think there would be a lot of initial backlash because not everybody cares about baseball, right? Nobody cares about the sports.
And I
scene,
think a lot of
period.
people are pretty good about having the Nashville Sounds. I think they feel like they've got a pretty
Yeah,
good
what do
AAA
you do with the
experience.
sounds? What do you do with that stadium? Because you can't expand. There's a lot of problems. Selfishly, I don't want them because I'm a lifelong Braves fan. I've been a Braves fan since '78, I think, is when I decided
Yeah.
I was a Braves fan, and because my cousin was a Reds fan and my brother was.
So
a
I
Dodgers
grew
fan.
up. So speaking of all these things,
And I don't want to switch teams. The Braves are the Braves are the consistent thing in my life.
yeah,
I don't want to give them up. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I grew up a Steelers fan.
Mm-hmm.
So in the '70s, you were either a Steelers fan, Dolphins fan,
Cowboys
Cowboys
fan,
fan. Yeah. So I was a Steelers fan, and when the Titans played at the Vanderbilt Stadium in '97, I think it was '97 or '98.
98.
Cordell Stewart was the starting quarterback for the Steelers. I went as a Steelers fan. I didn't become a Titans fan until they got here. And became the Tennessee Titans, right? And the Tennessee, I never, until they became the Tennessee Titans, that's when I liked him. But speaking of teams and team loyalty, you told me an interesting story this morning about Dan Rooney, the owner of the Steelers. How did he get the Steelers?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I only learned this I did a tour of the Steelers stadium.
Yeah, but it's a cool story.
But yeah, he won a horse race. He won like a long odds. I think it was the Preakness maybe in Baltimore. He won a horse race. Decided, like most people who come into money who've never had any, decided to do something crazy. And bought a football team, and it didn't go well. I mean, the Steelers are not a success story like right out of the gate. I mean, they're
Terrible.
decades of just being
Horrible. Like they
bad.
were the terrible.
teetering
yeah.
on bankruptcy, always constantly getting ready to go under.
Merged with the team or like.
In the World War II, they merged with the Eagles, and all these things going on, right? And then all of a sudden, in the '70s, things took off, like decades later. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I mean, takes a bet, wins a bet, buys a football team. Think about that.
That's crazy.
That's kind of crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I wonder how much the Steelers went for.
I don't know.
$25,000, something like that.
Yeah, it's probably a shockingly low number, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, I guess, and here again, I don't want anybody to take away from this. I think sports gambling is actually bad. That's one of the times it worked out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times that it doesn't. So
Yeah.
stay away from it.
He couldn't pull a phone out of his pocket and make that same bet 25 times before lunch. I mean, it
Right,
was a
right.
whole different world, right?
Yeah.
there. That becomes a whole different situation.
And I think it has to do with the era too. Like, I mean, things people forget is when we're talking about a time when he did this, where his wife kind of just had to go along with it.
Right.
It wouldn't happen now. Can
No.
you imagine you came into, substantial wealth
Yeah.
compared to your life, and you go to your wife and you're like, I think we're going to buy a whatever,
Bitcoin
right?
or like
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
And
They don't
you're
think
like,
people believe in
"Nah,
Bitcoin,
good
but
Lord."
something. Yeah.
Good Lord, no. I think the equivalent would be like right now. There's a lot of investment in women's basketball, professional basketball. It's still, not really making any money. The NFL wasn't making any money.
Right.
So it would be like me coming into a lot of money, going to my wife, who already makes all the decisions, and now I'm
Yeah.
going to be like, "Gotta take a leap of faith, babe. We're going to have a WNBA team."
Yeah.
Like we wouldn't have a WNBA team. That's not how that story would end. Nah.
The WNBA would
Yeah.
not be launched
No,
the same way.
It would not work out for me.
Yeah.
But
Well, I'll tell you, I'm looking forward to this year coming up
Mm-hmm.
as a Titans fan. Some of the other things we'll talk about that some as we go throughout the season on our way to the Super Bowl. Of course, as most people that know me and understand that until we are mathematically eliminated,
right,
we have a chance. So every year, until we're mathematically eliminated, I think we're just a couple of plays away
yeah.
from turning the corner. I mean, that's
As a Braves fan in the 1980s, I used to always joke about that. Until we're eliminated. Unfortunately, we were usually eliminated like around the All-Star break.
yeah.
We're pretty-
October was
pretty
not
bad.
a busy month
Pretty
at
rough.
the
Yeah, pretty
old
rough time.
Fulton County Stadium.
yeah. So, yeah.
But at any rate, well, Stacy, I love you so much. I appreciate you
Love you
coming
too,
and
man.
spending some time with me.
Yeah, this is
couldn't have
great.
thought
I
of
think,
better guest.
you're going to be a fantastic at this, and excited to watch it,
We're
man.
looking forward to it. So tune in. Show about real estate and people. And again, in your comments, put any university that you can think of. I'm going to see how many of them Stacy can pick the mascots on, or any team for that matter, before he has to look them up. But we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Thank you for spending some time with us.